up, guys? Hope you are exactly where you need to be and feeling how you need to get to where you need to be what you need to. Hope you are in full reflection of everything that is present in this moment. And so, I just want to touch on something real quick while it's fresh in my system. FOMO warfare, basically, is what it is. And yeah, this whole moon theory thing that I keep unpacking and having people asking me, like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? And I'm really striving to find clarity on what it is exactly as well. Ultimately, it's inside of me as truth that is non-physical, non-verbal, what? And then nature speaks and it's like, less words seems to be what it is. Just barking is really like a very clear-cut way of how to express, which I appreciate dogs for. And so the concept is this, real quick. There are people living lives centered in spirit, in source, in who they are as truth, as who they are as a soul, as who they are as the Jiva Atma, the true soul, the eye of spirit. As Ken Wilber says, they are aligned with who they are beyond space and time, and then they have brought that as their truest essence into space-time, into the embodiment as a physical human, and expressed during a lifetime. Not to say specifically this dude, but I look at someone like Richard Branson, and I'm like, wow. His life is very clearly fully manifested. Not to say that he doesn't have more stuff coming, but you look at someone like that, you look at someone like Elon Musk, and cool, destiny is one thing, and then like, you know, what you come to, not everybody comes to Earth in this current lifetime to build things in a very like, yeah, master builder architecture type of way. Some people come to experience true love, and I do though always come back to what is the offering, and to me that is what I've found is the constant in the sea of variables, that there is something we are to offer with this lifetime, and whether that be yoga, and whether that be of service, or whether that be of dharmic calibration in a certain modality like art, or a certain modality like you know, look at someone like Gandhi and what that life was for. He became a, and I don't have total clarity on this, but the term Mahatma is a title given to him because that was the type of life that he was living, and that was the purpose, not purpose, but soul path basically that, you know, he came to finally align with at a certain point in that lifetime. And that lifetime was for a very specific thing. And so whether it be, yeah, someone like Gandhi, or someone like Steve Jobs, or someone like Oprah, or someone like Esther Hicks, or someone like Tony Robbins, or someone like Diana Ross, or someone like a lady that you see at the grocery store that's very nice to you every time. Whoever it is, we're here for something. What is that something? What is it to be aligned with that something? And what is it to be out of alignment with that something? This dog cannot be out of alignment with what it was supposed to be and what it's doing. It's just tuned into its senses, and it's really just following that. Only thing with us is that we have this thing called spirituality in our higher essence that we can align with. That's been a big thing for me. It's like, why not strive for this? Well, that's of your lower nature, and you can strive for that, but will there be fulfillment in that? Fulfillment means wholeness, holiness. Maybe if you're only going towards these lower things, you're not going to fulfill your higher stuff. Maybe you're going for this higher stuff and you're becoming this term that I'm finding is very appropriate lately is spiritually bypassing. You're spiritually or whoever is spiritually bypassing maybe some of the lower dimensional identity and reproductive food security on the lower level, and they're bypassing that for this idea of spiritual new age, whatever it is. And so that was context to come to say, what is going on out there that seems to me to be warfare? It seems to me that there are beings who have aligned with frequencies and current, non-physical current and stream of nature that causes others to feel they are missing out. I gotta do it. I gotta go to this rabbit hole. What is the intention when anybody in the music industry says the word Illuminati? I know, it's dense. It's almost like in Harry Potter when you say Voldemort. It's just like... But for me it is. It's like, what's going on? And I found... I grew up in areas like this, big time. I grew up in very dense nature. And I started recognizing, or I was taught to recognize how nature is flowing in any given space. My dad would walk me to the pond and he would show me where all the fish beds were. We would walk into any forest and he would show me where all the deer trails were. And nature always chooses Wu Wei. Nature, or animals rather, amongst nature, with all one nature. It's all one. It's always Wu Wei, meaning it's always path of least resistance. It's always choosing the way that it can happen in the most, I can't say the most graceful way, but in the most, I'll say direct way. Well, this is kind of a sidebar, so never mind. But I did get to observe and practice observing why deer trails are happening here as opposed to there. Because ultimately it's a recognition of the animals choosing this path again and again and again and again and again until all of a sudden now there's this very clear walkway. But they could have literally just gone around the other one, or gone around the other tree, or taken, why did they choose this way? Why is this the way that got chosen again and again and again? To me, it has to do with the geometry that's being presented as the canvas, and then how the subject is moving towards the canvas, how the subject is moving into the environment. That was an analogy to set up this idea of our social construct and our social reality. And so I'm looking at anybody who's ever used the word Illuminati, whether it's Pac or ASAP or Jay-Z or yeah, I guess Ye hasn't really said it, but the artwork on Dark Twisted Fantasy is pretty crazy. Well, this is kind of getting me into like this rabbit hole starting to split, because there's the use of the word Illuminati, and then there's the use of 666, and when they use the mark of the beast, or I'm looking for how I really interface with it, because on one aspect I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, this has something to do with like the carbon imprint of man, and so they're like calling themselves, and that's the thing too, is like, what does it mean, the Antichrist? Well, at some level it feels to me now in this moment that they're choosing to align with the bestiality aspect of the human, as opposed to the higher aspect of the human, which the highest aspect is the Christ, is our ability to align with the Christ grid, which is a heart-based way of living. It's an empathy-based way of living. Not sympathy, but empathy-based way of living, and integration, oneness. And so it's almost like when I see the mark of the beast used, or this very like oppressive, it's magic, man. It's magic. It's it's frequency, it's it's harmonic, it's harmonic, it's harmonics. They're aligning with certain harmonics. They're aligning with certain frequencies, and it's like, why? What benefit are they getting by using these? Anyways, looking at that, looking at how the deer trails manifest, and looking at how people are choosing certain paths again and again and again. And in the same way of looking at the deer trails, why are these types of humans choosing this path? And you know they're choosing the path because they're saying these words. Out of nowhere, Tyler the Creator's putting like 666 on the back, 36 Mafia, yeah, triple. I've heard ASAP say it many different times. Not just one of the dudes in ASAP, but them as a group. And then it's just like looking at the nature of what that's all choosing. That was context to come back to the initial door handle into this video, which was the fomo warfare. And it's almost like when they use this thing, picture in my other hand being a triangle, when they do that, it's almost like saying, we're in here, you're out there. Kind of a, it's kind of like so the word wicked comes up, and it does feel like that. It's like, but it doesn't feel like love. It feels like separation worship, almost. Like, and so I think that's what the Antichrist points at. This is my lensing of it right now. And so they're wielding their own charisma to become a means of causing you, the viewer, the observer, the witness, Katy Perry, the witness to their expression, causing you to want to involve, enjoy, join, and yet simultaneously it's also a signpost that says you can't come here. No girls allowed, basically. No girls allowed. No boys allowed. You're not allowed, basically. And so, look, I don't know what the Illuminati is all the way. Yeah, I traced it back. I've seen the Europeans. I've seen social engineering. I've done my handful of years of rabbit hole diving into it. It's not a clear-cut this thing, but it does seem like it's a frequency. It does seem like it's a society, a secrecy that certain folks align with. And I'm not saying that the 666 and the Illuminati are the same thing. I'm using both of those reference points, those are words, as reference points as to what is happening in regards to FOMO. That's what this video is about. That's what I'm speaking on. I'm not speaking on any other aspect of it. I'm speaking specifically as to how it causes specifically young people to salivate over the lifestyle that is being lived in some of these videos, in the portrayal of the lifestyle that some of these artists or beings or entities are living. It's like, is this art? Because it feels more like warfare. It feels more like, I was going to say trap, because it does. It feels like a trap. It feels like it's a lure, a bait, causing you to desire it. And okay, so now I'll go to here. So, and this is, I think, a part of the deer trail recognition aspect of it for me, is that it always involves a couple things. How you know, it was like, what's the difference between a light, you know, it's lighter, or even neutral. Neutral's cool, but like, why is it the lower wicked? The word evil is like, is a messy vibration for me, but yeah, it points at it. It does seem to always wield sexuality as like a FOMO weapon. So whether it's an actual woman wielding her own sexuality, or it's a man wielding his, I'm speaking about artists using these types of warfare mechanisms to cause you to feel FOMO. And so whether it's a woman using it like that, whether it's Madonna, whether it's Nicki, whether it's Rihanna, whether it's Beyonce, whether it's whoever it is, they're wielding the sexuality and causing, yeah, desire, physical desire. They gotta sell records, but they also, it's like this recognition in the music industry of why it's so twisted is that it's twisted. They're like, they're singing about one thing, and then their like outfit is basically just saying, desire me deeply. And the music becomes kind of irrelevant unless there's, you know, a tie-in and it makes sense. Sidebar. So yeah, when the man does it, it's like his success and his power has become a magnet for the woman's sexuality. And usually in the video, you'll see him getting the girl. And it causes men to want to be him, and women the desire to be taken by him. And in the same way if it's the woman, if it's Nikki, then she's causing the women to want to be like her, and it's causing the men to want her. If it's Future, it's causing men to want to be like him, or women to be had by him. But either way, it's not like it's saying it's a full direct thing. I mean, it's a full direct attack onto like it. And this is why I feel like whatever mechanism as a non-physical manifestation of maleficent energy and entities, whether it's archons or reptilians, super sidebar, they're using these different people with egoic desires to become puppet-like extensions of this trap-like vortex. And then this goes into, yeah, basically soul harvesting and energy harvesting, and this idea that there are non-physical beings that need human bodies to act out their protocol and agenda, because one of the rules on Gaia is you can't play ball without a body. And even in Roman Catholic Christian context, God told, I think it was Satan, that he had this layer, or he had this, that's interesting, layer, L-A-I-R, but also layer, L-A-Y-E-R, or plane, or kingdom, that he could imbibe within. And I think he gave him rules and some like, you can't do this, but you can do this, or something like that, or you can manipulate him. And then like in the late 2000s, there were several movies made about that, like, I think Adam Sandler was in one. I know for sure Brendan Fraser was in one called Bedazzled. I'm trying to think of this other one. I'm seeing a picture of Adam Sandler, but I can't remember exactly which one. But yeah, it's this idea that there are, oh yeah, Spawn. But it's this idea that there are rules to the warfare, like colonial revolution warfare rules. Like, we're gonna walk up to this line and reload and shoot each other repeatedly until we can no longer hold the lines, and then we will disperse, and then that becomes guerrilla warfare. And anyways, sidebar. But yeah, so this video, I just wanted to talk about my context as of right now. Sorry about that, phone died just as I was closing, and really it's the sentiment of there's warfare going on that causes the perceiver, the viewer, the observer to feel as if they are not where they're supposed to be, or that they could be somewhere better. And so it brings about FOMO. And so these tools and mechanisms of these, it seems like malignant forces that are causing us to feel disconnected from our source, from our heavenly essence, from our true eternal beingness, and cause us to be disconnected from the beingness and identify with our doingness, because we're identifying in that moment with someone doing this thing, and they magnify our lower Muladhara and Svadhisthana red and orange identity in our human experience, which this is our desire for food, procreation, shelter, these very basic human needs. They're activating it within us, and our primal instinct gets activated and says, oh, I'm not as secure as I could be, because this person is obviously living a lifestyle that is more abundant than mine, or more of this or whatever it is. And the interesting thing about the magic is that it's really finely tuned, and they use very specific words to activate it in us in a kind of general way. And I think that's probably the most wicked part of it. It's just like very general and vague, but it always comes back to like they have, and they're always in this. It's this always competition thing. But yeah, so just wanted to speak on it in my context as of right now with it. Keep a head up, keep a head up out there with it, cause it's real. FOMO. Yeah, fuck that. Align with your truest. Align with the truest sight. May thine eye be single. May your source trickle down into you, and your awareness go beyond what space and time tell you you are, into the infinite beingness that is always accessible to you through this now, current, present moment. May this be your resting place. May you be whole, and may your journey towards wholeness and holiness be recognized as a beautiful river that winds and turns. May the journey be yours every step of the way. Aho, namaste.